How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the order calling Moto, aka free-to-play Moto starter build here. This build here is with about maybe 100 FE in gear. Pretty much when you are leveling with this character, you get pretty smooth leveling overall because you are just leveling here with interlocking souls. This is a weapon that you start getting dropped at the very beginning of the game. You'll typically see one or more of them while you're leveling, even if it's like your first character for the league. And then the rest of the gear here is all pretty much going to be like 10 FE or lower on almost every single piece of gear here. So the Fiend Crown here, 10 FE. Undying Faith, same thing, just about 10. The boots and the gloves and everything else, you're getting right about 10 FE on each. Oh, I used the wrong necklace here. But I did end up buying another one here. So you are getting around, you are going to be getting around like 1.5 billion DPS. Let's actually test this here with the proper necklace here. I don't want to give you guys some false information since that other necklace is a little bit better than this one. So we're looking at about, what does this say, 1.3 billion here, with a setup where you are using a weapon that is also going to give you explosions. So with this, you can actually get it to where you can comfortably do T8 maps even with this amount of gear, going in pretty early. And we have a pretty defensive setup as well for what we're running. For the tree itself, we are running God of Machines as normal here, taking points into minion skill level. Eventually you want to end up finishing out this command per second here. But while you're leveling, you can just continue to take all of the minion attack speed and minion crit, and then just take this +1 minion skills here. And then you do end up taking orders and mighty guard. Then you end up going into the machinist tree here, and you are going to just end up taking boss here. And then this is a personal preference. If you want more damage, you can go burning aggression, which is going to be giving you extra damage, or you can go kinetic conversion here, which is going to give you a barrier when you are moving. I really like the kinetic conversion route because when you combine it with curtain here in Steel Vanguard, you are going to get a really good defensive layer here, because basically every time you get hit, you're going to get a massive heal off of it. So it really keeps you topped up, and then you basically always have a barrier going because of kinetic conversion. Same thing goes here. If you want more damage, you can run knowledgeable, or you can run poison immunity for just extra defenses, which is what we are doing here. But back to the machinist tree here, we are splitting between taking ES while you're leveling. You want to just be taking all the minion attack and cast speed and crit damage, things like this. Same with all the command per second, and you don't want to worry about the defensive stuff until later. You do end up wanting to take this physical damage to minion attacks here. You don't need to push further into these because you are going to be converting your damage with Decayed Mind, most likely. You're going to end up wanting to run that setup. So you don't need to go further into this tree. You can just take these over here for the chance to deal double damage, as well as the synthetic troop level. And then the last tree here is again Steel Vanguard. You're just taking this damage, and this is where you're going to fill out the majority of your resistances, because you are using so many legendary items. You are going to need to get your resistances from this tree most likely. So again, you can put your points in here for erosion resist. You get more elemental resist here if you need it. This tree here can give you, what is this, 24 and another 36% here. This is converting some physical damage taken into elemental and reducing your elemental damage taken here. If you need more aura effect, you can get more points here as well. And then we are pushing this over just in to get own 3 blessings here, as well as it opens up with some minion damage. For the slates itself, I recommend running a slate with isomorphic arms. This is what you need to be running in order to have the explosion weapon in your main hand be transferred over to your pet. After you get that, you want to just be running basically 3 slates with some minion skill level on them. If you want to get this one that has blur on it, you can. It's optional. This is just extra defenses. But if you want to just save money, you can just buy like these tiny ones here. Like this cost me like 5FE. And there was like another one here with +1 minions that was also like 5FE. And then you just end up wanting to buy a God of Machines Divinity Slate here with +1. And you're just going to roll it for whatever you kind of hit. If you just can roll something like this is a good defensive option where it transfers extra damage to the minion. But not required, obviously. Just roll any +1 minion thing until you get some damage or defenses, whatever you're looking for. In regards to the hero traits, you are going to want to go all the way across the top here. For your relic, these are the 2 mods that you want. If you cannot afford the version here with T1, T2, you just get the T3 version of this overload effect mod instead. Along with this top mod here, or you can just get one with just the T1 version of the overload effect mod and ignore this top mod altogether. If you're even more broke, you can get one with just the bottom overload mod for very, very cheap. So just do whatever you can. And then for the actual slates here, you just want overload effect plus damage or whatever utility you want, depending if you want offense or defense. When you're first starting out, if you don't have money, again, just take these ones with overload effect and any other mod on them. They're very, very cheap. So, but that's what you're going to want to be going for on everything. And then when you do actually get to having some money, this Eagle's fight to the death is very, very important and very big damage scaling on the build. This is going to be one of those end game items that you do end up using to kind of push your damage into the... to end up pushing your damage, kind of pushing towards that 500 billion mark as you start to really gear out the character. Because what that does is it gives you this node here, which makes it to where your minions do additional damage based on their missing life. So you're basically always going to have 80% more damage on this from your pets. And then they also won't be killed from basically taking too much damage when they have overload. So they'll always survive and they'll always be at 1% HP, which is good. And then you have this here. So your minions are always going to have overload because of the double damage here, or the chance to deal double damage. So they will always have overload up. And then you have this rest and ready here, which is giving them a ton of extra additional attack and cast speed, as well as additional damage. For the actual skills itself, once you have crafted a hammer, you will end up using Savage Charge, but while you are using this setup here, you will just be using Path of Flames instead. And then you want to be running Machine Army. You want to put this on rhythm because if you are using a channeling skill, you will need to have this on rhythm in order to have it not stop your channeling skill. You can just run Blink or something instead if you want, if you don't want to run the Path of Flames option. I like the zoomy playstyle of Path of Flames with blurry steps, but it's not for everyone. And then we do have a Summon Spider tank here. For this, these are the supports that I'm running. I've tested a few other things. I'm pretty sure this is what's going to be best. While you're leveling, just kind of use whatever you get first, though. Crit strike damage is going to be worse early on because you're not going to have all the points to get your crit high enough yet. But so it's servant damage, servant speed, and added physical will be good early on. Try to avoid Maniacal Army because you're not, or I guess if you don't have the gear for your +1 minions, you are going to want to use this early on. But once you get high enough, you're not going to have consistent uptime on command, so this one really falls off. So you don't really end up using it like later on. And then again, before you get explosions, you will want to use multiple projectiles. But because we have Explode now, we're not going to end up really needing to be using that. And then we do have a Source of Mark here. Again, this is because we're running a crit version now as we've gotten further into the build. But early on, you can just run this as something else. You can run Multi-Strike, or you can just run other damage things on there, basically, instead. And then let's go ahead and go here. So we are running Dark Gate. This is important to run. If you do have the open spots here, you do want to put Mania on this as well. It does make it to where they get higher command, but command falls off really fast. So I wouldn't worry about it. Like, it's better off to just enjoy the comfort of moving quicker, typically. So I have the extra points on blurry step instead to basically get a really, really fast blurry steps, and it's always up. And then for your auras, you are running magical source, precise projectiles, weapon amplification, and a restrain. You are going to need this early on with your early gear, but again, these are like 5FE right now as well. So this is something you can afford very, very quickly. And then for your second setup is you are running a Summon Thunder Spirit here. You do want to ensure that you're running this with Elemental Duo. Servant Speed is really, really good. All of the additional attack and cast speed and stuff all stacks together, and it's all multiplicative with each other. So the more you stack, it does end up coming out better than other things. Same thing goes with the critical strike damage. If you aren't, if you are running this early on, then you end up running like multi-strike instead for this. So make sure you are doing that. And then again, we are running added physical. And then we are running an auto defense here with protection field. And we have energy fortress as well on the seal conversion. And then for our candles, your best in slot candles are going to be basically this here with this aura effect and +2 minions. But you can start with just +2 minion candles if you have them, or while you're leveling, you know, just get with movement speed, or like movement speed and minion damage, things like this, just for getting yourself through the leveling. But your minion candles are very, very inexpensive right now for +2 minion. If you don't have those, you can always just take the aura effect ones as well, but you can see +2 minion ones just by themselves are not very expensive. And yeah. So that's going to be the gear. I'm going to go ahead and showcase a T8 map here with this cheap setup. And then I will go over a more expensive version of the build in the next video. So yeah, leave any comments down below if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And other than that, see you in the next one. Come see how spooky it is to do with this with 3.5 KES instead of a lot. Cube bubbles, Nether realm. As you can see, you are getting the explosions here with, what's it called here? You are getting your explosions, these purple explosions with repeated end. You do have to make sure that you are using this in your main hand in order to proc it with isomorphic arms. So yeah, this is what you start with, and then basically once you have finished this, like one of the first crafts you want to make is actually crafting into an axe here. This does take a little bit more, so I will go over it in another video or in the next video, but pretty much you're looking for an axe here with this explode mod, and then you are crafting it with this additional physical damage to attacks per life recently consumed, and then you want the consume mod on here as well, instead of this flat fizz, most likely. So yeah, other than that, see you in the next one.